Well, Jason, there was a Nintendo Direct today.
Was there? Must have slipped my mind.
Yeah.
I don't think I was.
I woke up early. I woke up early. I made coffee. I got everything ready so I'd be nice and comfortable to watch.
Yeah?
I was very excited. Could barely sleep last night. Now, as of the time of uploading this video, it will be the day after, or maybe even the day after that, of when we saw this. But we're recording this on the day of the Nintendo Switch 2, April 2nd, 2025, big Switch 2 blowout.
It's 10 p.m., so it's been about 12 hours since it ended.
Yeah, which is enough time to process, I think.
Yeah, because there was also a lot of information not in the Direct,
Yes.
which also needs to be processed.
Yes, there was and it was funny. I feel like everyone at large was kind of processing all of this change kind of simultaneously and like lashing out, even myself included. I felt
Same.
Yeah, it was not the cleanest after. I think a lot of people were really happy while watching. I'll say that.
Okay, so just talking about the show itself while I was watching, I thought it was adequate for what it had to be. But I also thought we let our expectations run a little too wild.
Maybe, yeah. We might have a lot of it was just, kind of saying whatever, just to kind of get it out there and air it.
Yeah, just to will whatever you want into existence.
Yeah.
It did not come close to anybody's wildest dreams.
It did not. It definitely did not.
No.
And the first party output from this was low in quantity. I'll say.
I mean, I also need to remember that there was a whole other Direct that happened just before this. So we should probably, like, if I'm being fair, you kind of got to lump Tomodachi and Rhythm Haven and Metroid into this as well.
Yeah. That would have, you kind of do it. The thing is, like, them doing that pre-direct kind of made people's expectations for this and seeing new things a little bit higher, I think, because it had that energy of like, okay, we're getting this out of the way because it's just going to be Switch 2, new. And it's like, I was like ready for it. And then it was a lot of games that we've already played were shown. And even games that were in that Direct last week. So
compared to the Switch 1, it has nothing on the Switch 1 presentation.
no, it doesn't.
Not close.
I mean, we both rewatched that yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
I rewatched the whole thing.
Yeah, I did too.
And
Same.
what a Direct that was. What a presentation.
There were some things that I forgot. That was the Octopath one. I forgot about that. I got hyped for that. That was the SMT5 one.
Yeah.
I forgot about that too. They announced that right off the rip.
Yeah. Everything was there, and it was just like such a good variety. And speaking of output, 2 of the big 3 Nintendo announcements today were racing games. So
Okay, yeah.
little overlap.
What do you want to define as big? I guess Kirby counts as big.
I think
guess. I don't know.
for those watching, for fans of the show, we're going to be going through like kind of step by step everything in this Direct later, but we're just kind of airing out our general thoughts first as a primer.
Yeah. Generally, I thought the show itself good enough. It was fine.
It was that's a really good way to put it, because like it exceeded my expectations in some ways, and it was just kind of dragging, and I was just waiting for something new for most of it though. Like most of it, I felt like, okay, are we going to see the new stuff? And then like a lot of the things that looked cool, there were caveats. Like, for example, the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Everyone's like, oh, this is so cute. This is so good.
Yeah. Everybody was in.
Paid.
They dropped the bomb.
It's like, the most
Excuse me?
The most positive Nintendo voice on the internet is probably Rogers Base, who I sent to you, and even his face was like,
it makes no sense.
Whoa, like what? Like, Wii Sports, Nintendo Land, like this looks a few steps down from those, and this is.
If you ever play Labo?
No.
Okay, well, Labo came with these very elaborate instruction like game cards. They were very well done. That's what this seems like.
Yeah.
This seems like a very elaborate instruction manual that you should not have to pay for.
Yeah. it's so funny, like, because like
What is the appeal? Like, why would you spend money on it?
that's why everyone looked at it and they were like, this is cute. This is such a good idea to introduce.
Yeah.
Because, you know, PS5, you got the Astrobot thing.
Yeah.
And like Nintendo, like, it's like, okay, we're getting a little ahead of myself. Like, here's your paid instruction booklet for your $450 system. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
Just not a good
Well,
look.
even just like inviting the comparison to Astrobot. If they were the same, if they were both pack-ins, Astrobot is still way better than whatever the fuck Nintendo showed.
Yeah.
Astrobot's like a real. They could have charged $30 for Astrobot and it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
But like this, it's like how much? Like they didn't say. They didn't even announce in like the aftermath how much it is.
Yeah. And it's
$5?
funny, I think they
What's
did
a
that
fair
on
price
purpose.
for that? Yeah, because people would be mad. They hid a lot of all of the avalanche of bad news. They hid for after the direct.
They did. They definitely did.
They knew they had a lot of unpopular news that they had to drop, and they did not want to put it in this show.
And it's
they
also
didn't want to
it's
dampen
important
the
to
mood.
note as we're recording this, there are Nintendo Treehouse presentations planned. They're not happening yet. They could announce games in those, and part of me wonders if they were putting this out first, and based on the reactions, that's how they were going to kind of judge like what they were going to show.
No.
If they were going to drop a few more, like, do we need a little more spice? Like, we can hold back and just do what's planned, or we can throw in like a Samus Returns. You know,
I feel like Nintendo wouldn't be that flexible.
maybe not. It's possible, but you know, like another interesting thing about this, generally speaking, was the lack of any classic Nintendo big names. They were really kind of,
Yeah.
it was a passing of the torch. We had talked beforehand, like, will we see Miyamoto? We didn't.
We did not.
We didn't see
We saw him in the last
Tezuka.
one.
We didn't see Aonuma. We didn't see any of Nintendo's tried and true stars. It was all new faces. So they're really
Just
trying.
3 new dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really trying to kind of like let you know that these people will be leaving the company at some point. Our stock, we would like it not to plummet. We need to let you guys know that our new generation of developers is talented and capable. And so like they've been kind of slowly pushing them out, the old guard.
Yeah. I mean, we might even say that this was Iwata's third death. The
Actually,
Switch
you know
2
what?
Direct.
Now that you say it out loud, Iwata's third.
What Iwata charged for that dumb manual? Come on.
There's no dude. First of all, also
There's no way.
I've heard in the past that like they wanted to charge for like Wii Sports initially, and it was Nintendo of America
Yeah.
who said like no, make it a pack-in. Like Reggie, we need you. Okay,
Yeah.
we need you, Reggie. And
And of course, that was a much more substantial product than whatever the fuck
yeah,
this is.
we need like I don't know if just greed has taken over this like multi-billion-dollar company or like it's just
Who'da thought?
insane. It's just not. This is like, you know, the bad PR. It's kind of like I hate Nintendo when they're on top. I hate arrogant Nintendo. I like clawing and scratching and fighting Nintendo. Clawing and scratching and fighting and biting, like playing dirty Nintendo is how you get Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade 2, Splatoon 2 in a single presentation.
Do you want to just get into the negative shit now?
No. Let's
We'll
hold
hold
off.
off.
Let's
Okay.
hold off. I have to rein myself in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. We can go off on the negative shit, but that'll be a different.
Yeah.
video.
Maybe we should probably go off on the negative stuff before we get into every single segment of the direct, though, because
Yeah.
I will, spoiler alert, like it was kind of a roller coaster ride. Like I'm feeling really good and positive.
Yeah.
I'm crashing a little bit towards the middle of the direct.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of left a little unsatisfied at the end of the direct. And then I'm hit with the price. And then I'm
Yeah.
hit, more importantly than that, with the price of the games. And
Just every. This
it's just
is
everything.
a whole
Yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of
And so like
stuff.
I was feeling very negative about the Switch 2 earlier today. But like as time's gone on and I've thought about it and I've tried to kind of like take a step back, I'm feeling hype about it again. So I am positive about the Nintendo Switch 2. And a lot of it's because of the first half of this presentation, the Switch 2 itself.
Yeah.
They did a really good job. It's better than I thought even. I did not expect it to be like, hey, there's going to be performance modes and you can play in 120 frames per second and our screen actually supports it. Like, what an upgrade.
Yeah.
What
120 frames a second is not something I'd ever think I'd hear in a Nintendo video.
And in my head I'm just like, please run at 60. Please. Like literally, because I'm just so used to suffering as a Nintendo fan. I'm used to suffering, and this seems like the most capable system they've put out comparatively to the competition in quite some time.
Well, I mean, we've reached more and more the point of diminishing returns as far as like game development goes. So now that we're catching up to like PS4 era stuff, we all know the jump from like PS4 to PS5 wasn't that big. The biggest jump really is like load times.
Yeah,
and we like this. There's no discs involved in the Switch, so it's already pretty good in terms of that.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we've got the higher transfer data, like game cards, and they're making you get better SD cards.
Yes.
It seems like they've put speed at the forefront of this too. So you've got like the speed of a PS5, like the power of a PS4.
And interestingly, like the new carts that they showed off, you could probably still insert that. And we had a video about that. Like, what is it going to do differently? And it's like, I think they're just kind of like, you know what? If you bought this and you have a Switch 1 and you were confused, sucks.
They made them red.
Yeah, they made them red. That's what they did.
Yeah. Which is nice. I like having a colored game cartridge.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I went through my kind of curve of how I felt about it. What was your curve? How did you how did it start? What was the middle like?
Well, I was kind of caught off guard when it ended, and he's like, "Oh, this is going to be the last announcement." I'm like, huh, "Really?
Yeah.
Already?"
Yeah.
It didn't feel like we had gotten nearly enough for there to only be one announcement left. And then the announcement happened, and it was one of the bigger ones, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that was just that. We let our expectations get a little too high.
Yeah.
But it was still a solid show, and there were a lot of things to look forward to in it. So, I mean, of course, like the middle, like the stream broke, so you couldn't even like tell what was going on.
Yeah.
It was the audio was out of sync the whole time, but it wasn't bad enough to like really ruin the experience. It was just it was off by like 10 to 20 frames or something, probably, if I had to guess.
I had texted a few people like just to make sure that it wasn't me, and so like, do I need to find a new stream? I did eventually. I switched when it got so bad that they like kind of rewound it a little bit.
Oh, they it froze completely when some indie game was on screen, and the sound was still going, but the video was completely frozen. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Like, because everybody like in Discord I was talking to was like, oh, we're switching, switch it. Go to the UK stream. Fuck that. Yeah,
I did. Actually. I
was like,
UK
no.
stream.
That's what everybody did. Yeah, they were watching the America one, and then they switched to the UK when that happened because the UK one didn't break.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, I'm going to sit through the chaos. This is history. I love when shit goes wrong because it turns into these like legendary memes.
Yeah, like the Sonic
like the
25th
hiss,
anniversary.
Yeah. The Sonic hiss.
And I can
like
say
that
I
shit.
was there.
I watched that.
Yeah,
I watched that. Exactly. I could say I was there when the Nintendo Direct broke halfway through. And
as was I.
I thought they were going to have to restart the whole thing from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, when your stream breaks, it's like, all right, just reset OBS, guys. I thought they were doing that shit.
I'm
like,
surprised they don't do it just like a premiere instead of...
Yeah,
because
that would make more sense.
Like you could have like a completely prepackaged video that like makes sense, and still you can't skip ahead.
I think the problem is they're afraid it might leak if that happens.
That's probably it, honestly, because I've thought about it. Like, if I'm working at YouTube, I'm gonna be tempted to take a peek beforehand. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm looking at the Nintendo Direct. Are you kidding me? If you're a guy who has access to that information, sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, overall, it was like, I think we had landed at like C, but that's honestly more from the stuff that came after. If I'm looking at the Direct just as it is, it's feeling like a B.
I think I need to uphold the tradition of being the curmudgeon, so I got to go lower. I'm going to go C.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll get into it. We're going to get into everything over here at the Waiting for Nintendo channel. I have to say though, Jason, that I find these Switch 2 game cart prices rather shallow and pedantic.
We're just going all in with shallow and pedantic, huh?
I don't know. We'll probably get
All
sick
right,
of
like
it.
and subscribe, everybody.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.